Camera is rolling. Hi guys, it's Alex. Luckily, I am safe in my room, back in LA for video number 3. Unfortunately, one of my biggest inspirations, David Lynch, has passed away. David Lynch was a massive influence and revolutionary to the film world, and I thought to honor him, I would read you a couple passages from his book that I keep on my wall right there. I wanted to share this with you guys to honor him and also to hopefully inspire you all as much as he inspires me. Let's get right into it. The first passage that I want to read for you guys is a passage on interpretation. Lynch says, "A film should stand on its own. It's absurd if a filmmaker needs to say what a film means in words. The world in the film is a created one, and people sometimes love going into that world. For them, that world is real. And if people find out certain things about how something was done, or how this means this, or that means that, the next time they see the film, these things enter into that experience. And then the film becomes different. I think it's so precious and important to maintain that world and not say certain things that could break the experience. You don't need anything outside of the work. There have been a lot of great books written, and the authors are long since dead, and you can't dig them up. But you've got that book. And that book can make you dream and make you think about things. People sometimes say they have trouble understanding a film, but I think they understand it much more than they realize, because we're all blessed with intuition. We really have the gift of intuiting things. Someone might say, I don't understand music, but most people experience music emotionally and would agree that music is an abstraction. You don't need to put music into words right away, you just listen. Cinema is a lot like music. It can be very abstract, but people have a yearning to make intellectual sense of it, to put it right into words. And when they can't do that, it feels frustrating. But they can come up with an explanation from within if they just allow it. If they started talking to their friends, soon they would see things, what something is and what something isn't. And they might agree with their friends or argue with their friends, but how could they agree or argue if they don't already know? The interesting thing is, they really do know more than they think. And by voicing what they know, it becomes clearer. And when they see something, they could try to clarify that a little more, and again, go back and forth with a friend, and they would come to some conclusion. And that would be valid. Valid. I just love this chapter because I just feel like I have experienced this so much in my just short career where I would be talking about All Alone Together and someone instantly would jump on, oh, what does that mean? Or why do you have that? Or can you explain this for me? And a lot of the time, I wouldn't even know. I would be thinking in my head, like, of course I don't know. Like, why do you think I wrote the film and made it in the first place? The whole film was an exploration of self. It was an experimentation of things that I do not understand. And to craft the world and in living it with my own physical body, I was able to learn more. But there's still so much that I do not know, and still so much that I learn about myself watching it back years later. It's just funny, like, to think back on the expressions on people's faces, because back then even though I was thinking all this stuff in my head, like, I don't know, my ego would not let me say that. My ego would not let me say, I don't know. It would be so convinced that a true filmmaker understands every element and an aspect of the entirety of the film, and if you show 1 ounce of not knowing, then you weren't valid. And so I would go on these massive rants talking about how this little bit is this thing that I used to do this and da-da-da-da-da-da. I'd just be staring at me like this. I'd just be watching. And I'd be in it and talking, and they'd just be like, and then I'd finish and be staring at them, and they would just go, well, I really liked it. or maybe if they didn't like it, well, that is certainly interesting, which is another really good one. Speaking of another really good one, here is another chapter that I absolutely love called Ask the Idea. Oh, my little bookmark. He has a quote in the beginning, which reads, "The form which embodies that which appeared in consciousness, that is to be held within consciousness." I'll leave that up to all of your interpretation. The chapter reads, "The idea is the whole thing. If you stay true to the idea, it tells you everything you need to know, really. You just keep working to make it look like the idea looked, feel like it felt, sound like it sounded, and be the way it was. And it's weird because when you veer off, you sort of know it. You know when you're doing something that is not correct because it feels incorrect. It says, no, this isn't like the idea it said it was. And when you're getting into it in the correct way, it feels correct. It's an intuition. You think your way through. You start one place, and as you go, it gets more and more finely tuned, but all along, it's the idea talking. At some point, it feels correct to you, and you hope that it feels somewhat correct to others. The chapter goes on, but I wanted to stop there and specifically talk about this one passage in the chapter, because, again, if I want to describe this in relation to my old viewpoints of what it meant to be a filmmaker, I took so much credit, like, to an extraneous standpoint. Everything, whether or not I voiced it, felt like it was mine. And the idea was mine, and everything that I was crafting in my world was mine, and that control felt really good. And truthfully, it wasn't until I let go of that control in an artistic standpoint that I realized two things. One, it really was never mine. That ideas are like fish. And they kind of just float in the stream of consciousness. And we as humans have the ability to catch a fish and then do something with it. David Lynch also famously says, a cook never takes credit for the fish. He prepares the fish, he or she prepares the fish, but it's not his fish. Fish is not his son that he birthed and then sacrificed for your meal. He prepared the fish, but he does not take credit for it. And the second thing is letting go of that control that I had over an idea being mine allowed me to see and explore so much within the idea itself. So much more. And I think that's because you develop an understanding that an idea is endless. You can continue to search in the idea and find new things and extract wondrous other bits, and it all is circulating around this fish that you just caught in an instant. And I truly credit that way of thinking to David Lynch, which is now the third and final passage that I want to read to you guys, which is on consciousness. Little fish swim on the surface, but the big ones swim down below. If you can expand the container you're fishing in, your consciousness, you can catch bigger fish. Here's how it works. Inside every human is an ocean of pure, vibrant consciousness. When you transcend in transcendental meditation, you dive down into the ocean of pure consciousness. You splash into it, and it's bliss. You can vibrate within this bliss, experiencing pure consciousness enlivens it, expands it. It starts to unfold and grow. He then goes on to say, if you have a golf ball-sized consciousness, when you read a book, you'll have a golf ball-sized understanding. When you look out a window, a golf ball-sized awareness. When you wake up in the morning, a golf ball-sized wakefulness. And as you go about your day, a golf ball-sized inner happiness. But if you can expand that consciousness, make it grow, when you read that book, you'll have more understanding. When you look out, more awareness. When you wake up, more wakefulness. And as you go about your day, more inner happiness. You can catch ideas at a deeper level. And creativity really flows. It makes life more like a fantastic game. Does that not just make you want to fly? I mean, it is truly incredible, the gifts that this man has given to us. It is truly incredible. I believe what makes it so incredible is the fact that it is right there, lying within all of us. It doesn't matter who you are or what you've done. You have the power. We all have the power to expand that container and live this game of life fuller and happier and more creative. I fully don't understand what he's talking about. But every time I read it, I understand it more. And I've grown to a point in my life where the inexplicable, this unknown, the things that I don't understand, they're not a boundary. They're like a gate that's just swinging open. And I can hear it like clicking. It's just beckoning me for my entry. It wants me to just charge right through, away from the house and into the open field. and just frolic. And explore. And I think I'm going to go do that. Yeah, I'm going to go do that right now. I'm going to go right. Thank you, David. May you rest in peace, knowing that your art has forever changed this life. Bye.